Well, hello everybody. I hope everyone's had an amazing weekend. I know I have.
I
Just
did too.
pure entertainment wise, man. And another episode of the Bodacious Rant. Welcome everybody, with Burn and Rye as always. And as always, don't forget to ring the bell, give us a like, share us around, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely, we would.
I think this has easily been the strongest weekend of the year so far, entertainment-wise, just because, man, we've had some great movies this weekend. We saw Robert Eggers' The Northman, and we saw Nic Cage's Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I remember I heard about. I was like, oh, God, another Nic Cage movie, which I'm sure plenty of people thought. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but...
Yeah, no, I'm sure that was a lot of people's initial response, at least.
But I will say this, I was completely surprised by how much I like these movies. These are definitely, along with the Batman, my top 3 movies of the year right now. I hate to say it, I'm at that point where I'm like, I can't even remember all the movies that have come out so far this year, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but these are the 3 I'm like, these are the top 3 for the year of 2022. Man, the rest of the year's got some... Got a high bar to kind of claim, you know what I mean, Bern?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you that this has been an incredibly strong start to the year. With these 2 movies that just came out, and we'll talk about them here in a minute. But yeah, along with that, Everything Everywhere All at Once, the Batman, X is another great movie that came out this year that we didn't talk about, but maybe we will down the line if that manages to stay in my top 10 of the year. But yeah, absolutely, I 100% agree that the rest of the movies that do come out this year, they do have a high bar that they got to clear because these movies are pretty great.
Yeah, before we get started with our non-spoiler reviews, guys, so we're not going to ruin it, we definitely want you guys to see. These are both of these movies are must-see in the theaters, even though Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent wasn't in Dolby or IMAX, unfortunately. I wish it was in Dolby, but I saw it regular and I still enjoyed myself. So.
Same.
But X, that was definitely a movie. It's on digital, so you can rent it at home if you want. But that was one I definitely say you should go to the theaters, too. Very crazy, different horror movie. So, check that one out. But, Bern, I don't know if you're thinking it, but how do you feel about doing The Northman first?
Yeah, I really want to talk about this movie.
Okay, sweet. So, The Northman is directed by Robert Eggers, who I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's the one who did The Witch, which was a big movie for Anya Taylor-Joy that really...
Her breakout role.
Yeah, that jump-started her career, especially in the U.S., and he also did The Lighthouse, which was a big movie a couple years ago, with Robert Pattinson, who's now Batman, and Willem Dafoe. I want to say he's done a couple other things, but I'm just probably confusing him with the other A24 movies because
this was only his 3rd feature-length film, okay. But he's done a lot of theater work and a lot of short films that a lot of people have found on YouTube. But yeah, this is only his 3rd movie and as a big director.
For sure. Well, I mean, the theater work you could definitely see in the acting because, man, he's brought the best. I know I haven't seen The Lighthouse, but I know that's like a big role. Like, that was a big deal for Pattinson and even Dafoe, where it really showcased their talent. So I think he's one of those directors that gets the best out of his talent, and this movie shows. For those of you who don't know, this is based on the true story of the Viking Amleth?
Amleth, yeah.
Amleth, thank you. And this is basically the story that gave inspiration to Hamlet, which in turn gave inspiration to The Lion King. So, watching this, I got a lot of those vibes, but I thought, man, Lion King was way happier of a story.
It's a much more Disney-fied version of this story.
Absolutely, it's Disney-fied. Like, if you want to feel good about a revenge story, you watch The Lion King. If you want some real gruesome Viking epic story, this is the one where Alexander Skarsgård is Amaleth, and he is, man... I think this is my favorite role for him, given I've never seen True Blood. I've only seen a handful of roles for him, like Zoolander, Battleship, The Long Shot, which I forgot he was in just because he was a Canadian Prime Minister in that one. He was hilarious. But...
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But, dude, this is definitely his strongest work, and he pulls no holds bar, man, for him. He looks shredded. He's ferocious. Just pure unhinged acting. And Anya Taylor-Joy is the other lead character in this one. God damn it, I forgot her name in the movie.
Olga.
Olga, thank you. God, that was so simple, but I forgot. And then
Yeah.
also Nicole Kidman was definitely the other standout for us. You know, I know we were talking about that, and she was such a great. I think this is one of my favorite movies with her ever because she did such a great job. Also had Ethan Hawke, he was always great. Willem Dafoe, and
Class Bang.
Klaus Bang, who I didn't realize it was him, but then I saw him in the Dracula Netflix series, which I recommended in our Netflix stuff a couple years ago, which was great.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he was great in that. I haven't seen anything since. I haven't really seen him in a whole lot, but he does a great job too. I'm just gonna say this right now: 5 out of 5, easy for me. I definitely want to see it again, and just such strong visuals, incredible violence and cinematography, and just it definitely. I don't know too much about Viking culture, but when I think of like what a Viking would be like back in the day, this is the movie that comes to mind for me.
And I know Robert Eggers has gone on record in saying that this is the most historically accurate depiction of Vikings, at least in live action media. So there's that. If people are interested in checking out what Viking life would look like, this is probably the best thing to check out if you have any interest in that. But man, I've been a really big fan of Robert Eggers ever since we went to go watch The Witch, those many years ago, and seeing The Lighthouse only like 2 or 3 years ago when that came out. I was like, man, whatever this guy makes, I'm watching. And when I heard that he was doing a Viking revenge movie, I was like, man, like there's no way I'm missing that. And yeah, needless to say that this movie did not disappoint, as Rai said. This is much like how Dune was last year, one of my favorite sensory experiences in the theater. The audios and the visuals combined. This is that for me this year. And I would be very hard-pressed to see if any of the remaining movies that do come out this year top it in terms of that melding of just incredible vision, in all the beautiful visuals that are on screen, paired with like the amazing sound that's in this movie. It's just it's a fully like enthralling experience. And as you said, like all the actors that are in this movie, they give it their 110%. Like Robert Eggers gets, as we've seen in his last 2 movies, he manages to get really great performances out of his actors. And in this movie, that's no different. Like you said, Alexander Skarsgård gives the best performance of his career. Very much reminded me of Leonardo DiCaprio's turn in The Revenant. That has that very physical, raw anger, in his performance, that you just like you sit back and think, oh my god, this is not a person, this is a beast type thing.
Ferocious comes to mind when I think of both.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, Rai said this is a very brutal movie. Not to say that it is wall to wall violence, because I think maybe the previews kind of gives that sort of feeling, and I think to sort of manage people's expectations. This is not that, although it does include those elements, and when they hit, they really hit. This is a much more personal journey for this character, and when there is an action, there's a lot of plotting and machinations going on, and really following this main character on his journey of revenge. Yeah, man, this is, like I said, this is one of the most immersive experiences in the movie theater, and I really hope people go and check this out, because yeah, it is, Robert Eggers does make more artistic films, and I would say this one is probably his most accessible, but that doesn't mean there aren't artistic elements in there that could potentially turn people off. I just think that the through line of the narrative, the simple revenge story, will at least leave people with walking away from this appreciating something, at least. And I came away appreciating a whole lot, and I agree. It is a big 5 out of 5 for me.
Good stuff, Bern. Yeah, I think Robert is one of those few directors that can blend the artsy, side of filmmaking with like mainstream stuff. Just because, I know some people didn't like The Witch when I talk about it, just because it was more of a period piece and a little Shakespearean in the way they talk. But again, that's how people talked back then, and that one took place in like the 16, 17, basically like Manifest Destiny era almost. So no, not necessarily. It doesn't matter. But that took place like hundreds of years ago, and
yeah,
this
and
one
like the
took
early
place...
settlements of New England, basically.
Yeah, and then this one definitely takes place, in like the 900, 800, 900s, basically the 9th and 10th century.
Mm-hmm.
And, but again, I didn't mind it. My eyes were glued to the screen the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, wow. I just felt drained of it, like in a great way. Like I
Yeah.
came home knocked out. I'm like, man, that was a great movie. So I can't wait to see it again. I definitely recommend seeing it in Dolby, just because that way you get that, perfect sound quality, that, high quality imagery.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah, guys, go check that one out. Anything else, Bern, or shall we move on to the next epic film of today?
No, I mean, like I said, everybody, please go check this movie out. At least I do hope, I do want it to succeed, because I really want more movies like this to be made. Like a blockbuster that isn't beholden to any sort of IP, just something very original and very artistically minded. That's some things that we don't get too often. I know we got it last year with Dune, and we got it this year with this movie. Let's keep that going. I think I really would like to see that. But yeah, go check it out, people.
Yeah, just more epic stories, please. That's what we need. Even though again they've been adaptions, but it's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is great stuff. We don't get a whole lot of this, so and the next one, again, took me by surprise the most. I did not think I was going to enjoy this, but this was Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nic Cage as Nic Cage, which
Yeah.
I remember before I went to go see it, I watched the SNL skit of Andy Samberg and Nic Cage together. It's like, Nic Cage and Nic Cage? It's just because I was like, that was one of my favorites all-time skits. And it just shows, like, Nic Cage's humility. And this movie does it beautifully, where it is pretty much how you would think him being himself. He's a struggling actor trying to maintain his status as a movie star. And, lo and behold, this guy named Javi, played by Pedro Pascal, invites him over for a birthday party, like a birthday appearance. It's like, oh, God, what is he? This is what he's brought down to. And it just is a perfect mix of comedy, a biopic, along with just ridiculous action. And I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5 for sure, just because it really does a great job of, like, because I'm not a huge Nic Cage fan, but after this one, I'm like, you know what? I do want to watch more of his movies, and I get why he does all these roles. It puts it into perspective, like, kind of makes you think, like, wow, man, maybe there is something to what he does, a method to his madness, if you will. And Pedro Pascal is just a great supporting actor, man. He contributed to this comedy very well. Very, very different from the roles I've seen him in, like in Triple Frontier, Game of Thrones, The Mandalorian, where he's just like, I need to see him in more comedies after this. So yeah, like I said, if you're looking for something ridiculous that just makes fun of itself while being something ridiculous, go check this movie out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, seeing from the trailers, you get the sense that this movie's going to be like hilarious. It's going to be satirical, and it's just going to be 100% outrageous. And it is all those things, absolutely. One of the things that I wasn't expecting coming in was just how wholesome the movie was. It is a really great story about, like you said, Nic Cage playing a fictionalized version of himself that's trying to rekindle that stardom that he used to have, like back in the 90s and the early 2000s. But the friendship between him and Pedro Pascal is the real driving force between of this movie. And that element was completely unexpected for me, and was one of the, much like last year's Free Guy, it's one of the movies that you leave that you're just feeling good about yourself and about people and about your relationships and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you get all the things that the trailer promises. Nic Cage going full on Nic Cage in certain scenes, and then some unexpected really good acting moments between him and other characters in the movie. This one's gonna be a 4 out of 5 from me too. Just a great time, and you really this movie couldn't have been made with anyone other than Nic Cage. Like, just the self-awareness he has about his career and the decisions he's made, like, it all just blends into this ridiculous screenplay that somehow just works.
It really does, man. And yeah, exactly. I think you put it the best, where it is ridiculous, and it is just he's very humble about himself in his career. But again, there were scenes I was like, man, this is like a true moment between people, like something you could definitely relate to in one aspect. And I did not expect that, just because There's two things that Nic Cage always has in his movies. All the dialogue is either screamed or whispered, and then everything's on fire. And there was a good amount of both, actually, in this one. So.
There absolutely was.
It also features... let me look at the cast real quick. I apologize.
I know Ike Barinholtz and Tiffany Haddish. They were both great.
They were both good for like their stuff. Let me see who else was in it. I'm trying to think here. Oh my God, what's the chick from Game Night?
She was Sharon Horgan. Yeah,
Sharon Horgan.
She plays his wife in this movie, and yeah, she was great in Game Night, and she was really good here as well.
And also, surprisingly, I had NPH in there. So if anyone who's a fan of Neil Patrick Harris, this is definitely something for him too. But overall, just fantastic movies this weekend. Definitely stuff to go see. These are the movies you'd want to go to the theater for. So, anything else, Bern, or is that it for today?
No, I mean, just to jump off that last point, a lot of people complain that, there aren't enough original things in Hollywood, that it's all, like big blockbusters of like big IPs and stuff. But I mean, when movies like this come out, it's like just kind of throws that whole theory out there, just into the gutter, because it's not true. I mean, there's a lot of these really great smaller movies that just don't get enough attention, I feel, and I feel like if people were to seek these out, they would find that there are other ways to have really awesome times at the movies, and these two are definitely enough reason to say that.
Absolutely, yeah. And the more we keep watching these movies, whether you like them or not, this is how we get more originality back in Hollywood, or even just stuff that's not so mainstream. Which I don't mind both. I just want to see a good movie. Yeah. So, but again, it's good to have variety and more stuff to do. So,
absolutely.
Until next time, guys, we got more Moon Knight coming at you. Next week we got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And I'm trying to think, does anything come out this week?
Obi-Wan. Well, no, I mean, not that this week, but that's coming in May.
Yeah, I guess this is kind of like our gap week, essentially, until
a little break until, the multiverse.
Yeah, so everybody stay tuned for our future episodes. And always stay bodacious and keep on renting.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Go watch some movies, guys.
Absolutely. Get on out there.